All right, everyone. Yet another bike to repair. Get back on the road. This bike's a little different than the previous video. I don't mind working on people's bikes that I have sold the bike to because I know the bike was put together initially correctly. Not saying I'm the Jesus Christ of assembling motorized bikes, but I am saying I'm pretty good, and my bikes usually stay together, bearing the fact the person takes half-ass remote care of it, which I mean not riding down railroad tracks or blasting curbs and et cetera, et cetera. This one's a perfect example. Known this man for a long time, sold him a lot of bikes. He doesn't care about spending money for them, obviously. I think in the beginning of summer, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I don't know, he puts a ton of miles on these bikes. And when the motor goes kaput, he doesn't really bat an eye about it. Just shows up with another motor, wants me to do the mechanical changing over and keep his bike going. But he is kind of hard on his bike, but it still stays together for him, however that miracle, works. But anyway, as I was sitting here before I started the video, I was thinking, well, change the motor, keep the other rest of the parts that are in the kit, because it's always nice to have extra parts. So if your motor does go bad, I always suggest just buy a kit. A lot of people are just like, well, man, I'll just buy a motor. But for like 25 extra bucks, you can buy the entire kit, have an extra gas tank, CDI, carburetor, throttle and clutch cable, clutch lever. That way in the future, if any of those parts break on your bike, you don't have to sit and wait for the big brown truck to come and bring you a single solitary part. You already have it in the box on the shelf, in the closet, in your garage, wherever it is you stash your stuff. But anyway, we got to change out a few things today. He's completely wore out the motor. It's toast. As you can see, he rides the mess out of it. These tires were new the last time I saw it. He's not a kind of rider who skids the back tire. That is just completely wore out by mileage. He didn't replace the front tire last time, but it's getting to be about due. He's definitely going to want to do that before the winter time season because the knobs are pretty much wore off the center. But as I was sitting here looking at the old bicycle, deciding what I should change and shouldn't change, I noticed there's a big glom of duct tape or electrical tape up here. And I was like, well, man, last time we put a motor on it, we put a new throttle on it. And I think he lets the old bike fall over or what have you. And he's always and constantly breaking the throttle cable housing. So he's got it, taped up here so it functions. But we're going to put the new one on it. Also, this here sexy seat. Good God, man, spend a nickel and buy a new seat. I don't know what the tape is all about. I hope we don't have a spring poking him in the ass. It is a nice cushy seat. I'm not going to peel the tape off to see because I'm not that inquisitive about what's going on with that, but probably wouldn't break anybody's heart to put a new seat on that bad fella. All right, well, I'm not going to bore everybody with the step-by-step nut and bolt turning, but I'm going to take the motor off this bike. He has purchased another kit, which is over in that chair with a couple boxes. One box with the bottles is not his. The box in the chair is his. So we're going to pillage that box, replace the things that are wore on this bike, and get him another 20,000 miles or whatever it is he gets. Because he does ride about an average of 100, 150 miles a day, believe it or not. So he is a riding fool. But the old can't see change is still holding up, and we're going to get him back out rolling around on his trusty can't see change. So give me just a few minutes. I'm going to pull the back wheel off, put the new tire and tube in it, remount that bad fella, pull the motor off, and as an addition to, going to put a new throttle cable on there. One that doesn't have so much electrical tape. So, with all my jaw flapping as usual, I'm going to get started and get this bad fella fixed up. Alrighty then, I'm back. And this bad fella is done. Got the engine swapped out. New tire and tube installed on the rear. Went ahead and changed the carburetor with the new engine kit. The other one was fine, but let's start off all the accoutrement that makes our motor run new. I did use the CDI that was on the frame. I tested it before and it started right, it sparked just fine. So I went with it. So they got an extra CDI if they need it, gas tank, etc. in their kit. Check the front wheel bearings. BNC puts a ton of miles on it. Got the new throttle up there with no tape, back original, and hopefully he takes care of that for, I don't know, over 10 minutes. Need to wipe the sweat residue off the gas tank, but hey, I'll get to that. She is ready to roll. I have taken it outside. It fired right up within one bike length. So I brought it in and put its wire loom back on. I just put the loom on the wires because it makes it look a little better, keeps them out of the weather. But before I do that, I always take them out and test them in case you have a bad CDI or something, this, that, and the other. You don't have to go through all that cutting more zip ties and pulling the wires out. Also, I have talked to a lot of people lately about chain problems. I personally built this bike years back. I always use the aluminum hub mount. There is a video in my arsenal of videos of this aluminum hub mount. It fits the stock 9-hole sprocket. It is not one of the $20 jobs because some of the $20 jobs slip. You want this crack where it goes together in two pieces to not be completely closed. That way when you tighten it up, you know it is sandwiching the rear wheel hub and it won't slip. These never do. I'm over 200 in with these, and it makes my sprocket turn true or straight. None of that egg-shaped wobbling business. So the rider doesn't have any chain problems out and about. Another little cool trick is, like we are doing right now, to look down the chain. Make sure the lower chain is underneath in line the upper chain. Upper chain, lower chain. If one is cattywampus and you look down it as of such, then it's not going to ride true and it's going to derail itself on the rear sprocket. Another little friendly tidbit is, look where the teeth go into the sprocket. Make sure it is not facing one way or the other. And when I say that, you want to get the teeth of the sprocket, this right there, look at them, in the center as best you can. You can be off just a little bit, but you don't want it riding on one left side or the right side entirely. That means it's not lined up properly. I hope I explained that clearly enough. That's the best I can do. It's kind of dark, you can't really see it, but that is another little trick of the trade I use to make sure and ensure that myself and other riders don't have a problem throwing the chain all the time, because that is a problem. You want reliability when you get out there and ride, because a lot of people ride them to work. You come home late at night, last thing you want to do is get a handful of oil, try and put the chain on. So that's just a further little tidbit, but this one's good to go for another 100,000 miles, or until he, I don't know, wears it out, abuses it, lets it fall over, whatever the case may be. He's always wearing them out and always putting them back together, never complains, so I guess I'll keep doing the work. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for my next video. Someone sent me a message and wanted to know how I got so much longevity out of my personal bike. So I'm going to share how the best way to take care of your bike and get over 15,000 miles out of it. It's all simple stuff, not real hard work. You got to apply a little common sense, and you don't have to work and buy stuff all the time with these things. All right, as always, take care of yourself, ride safe, and I will see you with the next exciting video.